this lesson, we're going to be talking about integer addition. Let's take a look at the picture at the top. This is called a number line. A number line consists of a line, as you see here, with a central location called the origin. This is where the number 0 will be located. Then the number line includes all of the numbers to the right of the origin. These are the numbers that you see in blue. These numbers are called positive integers. You can see that our number line here is going in the positive direction from 1 to 10. But the little arrow at the very end of the number line indicates that this number line will go on forever. Therefore, the number line will include numbers like 11, 12, 13, 14, and so forth. Moving in the left-hand direction are all of your negative numbers, beginning with -1 and going down to -2, -3, and so forth. It will continue on just like the other side did as well. So these in red are called negative integers. Now you notice that integers are just numbers. They're not fractions, they're not percentages, they're not decimals. They're just nice whole numbers. So let's go ahead and use this number line to help us complete these integer operations here below. The first example says 3 plus 2. Now 3 plus 2, I'm going to show you how to indicate it on a number line so that you know how to use the number line when doing this. So I'm going to begin on my number line where the beginning number that I have. So I have a 3. So I'm just going to put a little dot over the number 3. And I'm going to move +2. So I'm going to add 2, which means I'm going to be moving in the right-hand direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these little loop-de-loops, and I'm going to count 1 space, 2 space, leading me up to +5, which is my answer to the problem. The second number in the operation, or in the expression, indicates how many spaces you're allowed to move. Okay, now that we've done an example in the positive direction, let's go ahead and look at one in the negative direction. This next one says -2 plus -6. So I'm going to begin at -2 on my number line. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little dot there, and I'm going to add -6, which means that I'm moving in the negative direction. And I'm moving 6 spaces. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, leading me to -8. You can see in this one, the negative out front of the 6 tells you which direction you're moving, and then the 6 tells you how many spaces that you're moving. Okay, let's try another one. Now that we've done an example with only positives and only negatives, let's go ahead and use a positive and a negative. My next example is 4 plus -8. So I'm going to start by putting my little dot at +4, because that's my beginning number, and I'm going to add -8. The negative indicates that I'm moving in the negative direction, and then the 8 indicates how many spaces that I'm moving. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces, leading me to my answer of -4 on my number line. All right, the next example here, let's go ahead and look at it. 1 plus -5. So I'm going to begin at 1 on my number line. And I'm going to be moving in the negative direction, and I'm going to be moving 5 spaces. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, leading me to -4. Now I do want to mention something. This is a nice visual way to kind of understand integers. Let's use that last example. I'm going to start at 1. And I'm going to move -5 spaces. So I'm going to use 0 as my reference point, meaning when I get to 0, I'm going to stop. So I'm going to move 1 space. Okay, I made it to 0. How many do I have left? If I have 5 spaces to move and I've only moved 1, how many do I have left? Well, the answer is 4. That will give you that -4 as an answer. Sometimes using 0 as a reference point to so that you could ask your question, how many more spaces can I move after I get to that 0, is a great way to look at the number line. Okay, the next example we have is -2 plus 5. So I'm going to start at -2, and I'm going to add 5. I'm going to be moving in the positive direction. So I'm going to use that reference point this time. I'm going to move up 1 space, 2 space to get to my reference point 0. If I've moved 2 spaces, how many more spaces do I have to move? And you're probably thinking 3 more spaces. Well, that will give me my answer. But I'll show you up here what it looks like. 1, 2, 3. that will give me a total of those 5 spaces that we said. So it's a nice little tool that you can use as you work along with these problems. Alrighty, -1 plus 7. So -1, and I want to add +7. So I'm going to get to my reference point, and if I get to my reference point like this, that's 1 space. How many spaces left do I have? Well, if I had 7 and I use 1, I only have 6 spaces left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alrighty. Moving right through these problems here. -5 plus 9. I'm going to start at -5, and I'm going to add 9. So I'm going to move in the positive direction. Because my 9, it indicates the spaces, and the positive in front indicates which direction I'm moving. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's my reference point. I've used 5 of my spaces. How many more can I go? I can only go 4 more. So 4 is going to be my answer. All right, the last one, using our number line, -7 plus -3. I love this one because you notice that both numbers have the same sign attached to them. So I'm going to begin at -7, and I'm going to add a -3. The negative is indicating which direction I'm moving, which is the left, and the 3 is how many spaces. So I'm going to move down 1, 2, 3 to get me to -10. Notice that on these types of problems where you have 2 numbers that have the same sign in front of them, you aren't going to hit that reference point. You're just going to be moving in the same direction. So I start negative and I end negative. Alrighty, now that we've practiced a couple of problems with the number line, let's go ahead and try a couple without the number line. This is a great time to pause the video to try these on your own, and then we'll go over them together. All right, in this first example, I have 10 plus -7. Well, I'm beginning at 10, which is a positive number, and I'm going to be moving in the negative direction only 7 spaces. So if I say 10 plus -7, I'm going to land on 3 on the number line. Feel free to use your number line as you work through these problems as well. -4 plus 12. I'm going to begin at -4, and I'm going to move in the positive direction 12 spaces. So, -4, if I move it up to 0, I used 4 spaces. How many spaces do I have left if I'm only given 12 spaces? Well, I only have 8 left to use. 5 plus -9. So, I have 5, and I'm going to be moving in the negative direction 9 spaces. So if I move down 9 spaces, that will take me down to -4. -1 plus 15. So I'm starting at -1, and I'm going to move in the positive direction 15 spaces. So let's say -1, I bring it up to 0. How many spaces was that? That was just 1 space. I only have 14 more to go. -8 plus -11. This is that situation where you have 2 numbers that have the same sign. So in our case, both of these numbers are negative. Therefore, my answer is going to be negative. So -8, moving in the negative direction 11 spaces, is going to leave us at -19. -2 plus -20. Well, -2, I'm going to add another negative to it, bringing me down to -22. Okay, let's go ahead and work some application problems using integer addition now. I have 3 problems here for you. The first problem says, a submarine at 21 feet below sea level suddenly moves up about 9 feet. At what depth is the submarine located now? So we can see by this problem, I'm going to go ahead and underline some important information. The submarine begins at 20 feet below sea level. 21 feet below sea level is going to be represented by -21. And suddenly it moves up about 9 feet. Moving up is like moving upwards or to the right on the number line. Therefore, we're going to add 9 feet. Do you see that? Okay. This is my expression that was created by using this problem. So let's go ahead and evaluate it now. -21 plus 9 will leave us at -12. Now, the question is, at what depth is the submarine located now? Well, the answer is not -12. We have to consider -12 as the number of feet below the sea level, because doesn't the negative in front represent below? And if this number was positive, we would say that it is above sea level. So we want to restate our answer to answer it properly. We're going to say the submarine is 12 feet below sea level. And I'm going to go ahead and put a box around my final answer. Number 2, a football team gained 6 yards and then lost 10 yards. Where is the football team now? Well, let's look. A football team gained 6 yards. Gained means you're moving in the positive direction, correct? That's going to start us off at 6 yards. Then they lost 10 yards. Losing means you're moving in the negative direction. So therefore, I'm going to be adding a negative 10 yards. There's my expression. Now I want to know, where is the football team now? Well, if I evaluate this expression, that's going to give me -4. So if we used our line of scrimmage or our reference point as 0 in this case, then we would say that we are 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. I'm going to go ahead and put a box around my final answer. Okay, the last problem. The temperature was -14 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning, and the temperature dropped 7 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the temperature now? So the temperature was -14 degrees in the morning. So I'm going to begin using -14. And it says the temperature dropped. The word dropped means that it went in the negative direction. It went down. So I'm going to go ahead and add a -7 to that. There's my expression. If I simplify this, you can see that I am going to be adding 2 numbers with the same sign. That's going to give me an answer that has the same sign as both the numbers. So that's going to be -21. So the answer to